Hello everybody, welcome back, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Angelica. We're going to talk about some books today in this video. I feel like I didn't read the most books I ever had in January, but I read a decent amount to like have momentum for, you know, next month and so on and so forth. I completed 3 books in January and I'm reading one right now that maybe I'll be able to finish today, which is January 31st, so maybe I can squeeze it in to finish in January. So first book I finished was Thrive by Kristen Becker Ritchie. This is the 4th book in the Addicted series. This one took me so long to finish. I'll give you a brief summary since it is like the 4th book in a series, but it's about Lily and Lo, who both are struggling with their own addictions. Lily is a sex addict, Lo is an alcoholic. By the time it's this 4th book, you know, they're like kind of well into their way of like overcoming it, I guess you could say. What I didn't like about this one was that it kind of recapped what happened in the first 2 books of the Calloway sisters, which is the sister series of the Addicted series. So it just felt a little repetitive. I don't love Lily and Lo's perspective, but I'm like trying to get through their Addicted books so I can continue the Calloway sisters books because it kind of goes in order of that. But Thrive I gave 4 stars because I feel like towards the end, about last 40% of the book, I really did enjoy. It was kind of more new information, whereas the rest of it kind of seemed a little redundant. The next book I read was By a Thread by Lucy Score. I read this on my Kindle, but I was enjoying it so much, like 70% of the way through, that I ordered it to have. I still want to go through and like highlight my favorite moments. I will say they got to... let me back up. This is like an enemies to lovers, workplace romance, grumpy sunshine. I wouldn't even call her a sunshine. She was kind of sassy. Grumpy sassy. Super slow burn. Lucy Score, she likes some thick books, man. Like Things We Never Got Over was also super thick. I loved Allie. She was very like witty and sharp, and Dominic was like broody and charming and dark and handsome. They worked at a fashion company. It was kind of like Devil Wears Prada vibes, but like workplace romance. Ooh, there were some scenes in here. Hot. Like, I would give this like 3, maybe 4 flames of spice. I've never rated a book on flame scale, but that's what I would give this one. 75% of the way through, they like get together, and so then you're left with like, do I have to read the conflict that's probably gonna happen? And I will be honest, I skimmed it and didn't really read it, and I just skipped to when they got back together because I knew that was inevitably gonna happen. But I liked it. I give this 4 stars because, like I said, they got together just a little too early in my opinion. Next book I read on my Kindle, this was actually our book club pick for January, was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I went into this not thinking I was gonna like it that much. I thought it was just gonna be like a fantasy book, and then I realized it's a romance. There's like romance happening, and it's not even just that, it's an enemies to lovers romance. And a little bit of a love triangle as well, which I didn't love, but also wasn't the worst. Addie LaRue basically makes a deal with the devil in the 1690s, and she just wants to live her life free and not being tied to anybody. So the devil grants her basically an eternal life where she stays the same age forever, but no one remembers her. People just forget her as soon as she walks away, or as soon as they close a door, they don't even remember her. So she's constantly just like reintroducing herself. She can't keep friends or family or a place to live, so she's kind of just like roaming about life. So the first part of the book is her kind of like going through all of that, and it's dual timeline, so it goes back from 1600s to 1700s and so on, to the present day, which is in 2014, where she runs into somebody that remembers her, that she sees the next day, and they remember her being there. So this is like all said in the synopsis, so it's not really spoiling anything, but it was very slow for me, I will say. The first half of the book was very slow going. I read like an inchworm, reading. I think that's like what it took me the most time to read this month, was just that book. And then I would say 60% way through, I was invested and I couldn't stop reading. I couldn't stop thinking about it. And then the end came and I was a wreck. I felt so emotional. I was listening to so many playlists. That makes me want to rate it 5 stars, but I don't think it's 5 stars. I think it's 4.5 for me because the beginning was still so slow. But a part of me wants to like reread it. So I might end up buying the physical copy, which I was going to, but it's only in hardback. And you guys know how I feel about hardback. But I think because I already read it, I might get it and like highlight my favorite quotes because I highlighted so many quotes. Oh my god. It was so good. I made a whole Instagram post about it. That's how obsessed I am about this book. And then I'm currently reading Love and Other Words by Christine Lauren. My friend Carrie's gonna be fucking psyched. I'm about halfway through with the book. So far so good. I've tabbed it a little bit. I've been really enjoying it. It takes place in like San Francisco, North Bay, and what's really trippy is like there's like places mentioned that I know of because I lived in San Francisco for like 4 years. So there's like, they said one restaurant, Nopalito, which was like down the street from where I used to live. So it's kind of trippy. And she works at a hospital near where I used to work in the same neighborhood. So it's kind of like cute nostalgic vibes. I feel like though I'm like halfway through, I feel like it's about to wreck me. You know? Elliot, love him. I kind of wish this was dual POV. It's only told in Macy's point of view. Macy is 29 right now, and it goes back and forth between present day and then when Macy and Elliot were young teenagers, and then now in the present day reconnecting, but Macy is in a relationship. So that's where I'm at right now. I've been enjoying it so far. It's like a nice soft read. You know, Addie LaRue was like very beautifully written, like poetry almost. This is still nice to read and well written, but it's like so much easier and like flows so much quicker to where it kind of feels like a warm blanket to my brain. You know what I mean? Those are the books I read / I'm reading in January. Now for my February TBR, which I mean, I told myself I was not going to make another one of these videos because I never keep them. I never actually read the books that I put on my TBR. But I like a little moment, a book moment on my desk, and so I can like see these books and get excited to read them. So I have a little stack here, and there is one, I think 2 on my Kindle as well that I also want to read. So the first one is Daisy Jones and the Six. I would love to read it this month. I think the show comes out the beginning of March, so I would love to read this before the show comes out. I'm really excited for the show. Suki Waterhouse is going to be in it, and I love Suki Waterhouse so much. Next, I would love to read this book, If We Were Villains. I hauled this in my recent book haul. This is a like mystery thriller book about there was like a murder, and 7 actors in this play are like all suspected, and one ends up going to jail and then ends up like telling what really happened. So I'm excited. This seems really interesting. It's all like separated by like scenes, which is very intriguing for me. Whenever books are kind of like separated different than usual, I'm more into it, so I'm excited to read this guy too. Then I would love to read a short story and a nonfiction. I had this in my February reset video that I posted last. So 2 I just grabbed from my shelf. The first one is the short story Oh Caledonia. I also hauled this. This is also a mystery about a girl who is discovered murdered, and they don't know what happened to her, and you look back on her past and figure out what the hell happened, you know? Short story, little baby short story. In my book club, I think we're also gonna pick a short story for the month as well. It'll probably be a romance short story, to be honest. And then last physical book I have is Fast Like a Girl. This is a nonfiction book about intermittent fasting, but with the like women's menstrual cycle, metabolic health. I have recently restarted to intermittent fast, so I'm actually really fascinated by this and excited to read this and learn about it and just like get healthier. And then on my Kindle, I have 2 books. Jasper Vale came out today by Devney Perry. This is the 4th book in the Eden series. I'm obsessed with the Eden series. I love them so much. I'm so excited for this book to come out. Jasper Vale is, I think, follows Eloise, I want to say, and it's a fake dating romance. The Edens is like a whole series that follows every sibling in the Edens family in the small town Montana, so it's like small town romance vibes. And then Jasper Vale is like fake dating vibes. I think it's like also they don't like totally like each other kind of thing. They had a hookup and then they were suddenly married, and now that they just have to pretend that they're still married even though they don't want to be married. I'm excited. It sounds like a mess and I'm so excited for it. Lastly is the last book in the Addicted series, Addicted After All. I already started reading this. I think I'm like 8% of the way through. Just slowly getting through Lillian Lowe's POV. It is not my favorite POV and I am so excited to finish this one so I can read Feel the Fire, which is Rose and Connor's POV, aka my favorite couple in the world. The last book is the only one that will have Lily and Lowe's point of view again, but at least it'll be not as much as this whole ass book. So I honestly don't even know if I'm going to get through Addicted After All this month. This is a short month after all. I feel like I want to get at least a chunk done. I probably will finish it in March though, if I'm being honest, because I want to read these other books more than I want to read that one. That's it. That's all the books I'm going to read, and that's all the books I did read in January. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you found any book recs for yourself. If you have any recommendations for me that you're like, yo, check out this book, I think you'd love it, drop in the comments. Love to hear it. Love to chat with you guys. We'll see you next time. I have so many video ideas. I want to do a whole like apartment decorating series video thing. I want to do cooking videos. Stick around. Subscribe if you want to join this chaos that I have. Until next time, see you later. Have a great February. I hope you read a ton of books.